Hey, what's up guys? Soldier Knows Best is. So, okay, what are you getting for $450 with this new TCL 10 Pro? Well, by looking at the internals, you'll find that it is a little bit of a mixed bag. So the included Qualcomm Snapdragon 675 is a little outdated on paper, but in my use of the phone, it holds up well with most things that I threw at it. But I did see some occasional stutter or slowdown when I was switching camera modes inside of the camera app. It just took a little while to open up some of those things. And then you also have 128 gigabytes of internal storage with the option to self-upgrade your storage by taking advantage of the micro SD card slot that lives at the bottom of the phone. And so you can use that to put up to an additional 256 gigabyte card inside of that, which is nice. And then, the 4500 milliamp hour battery performed well for me. And it got me through my typical quarantine day right now. And also having reverse wire charging is convenient for those situations where you need to put life back into a friend's phone. And then also this phone does support 18-watt fast charging. So that should be able to get your phone from 0 to 50% in a little over 30 minutes. But this 10 Pro does not have wireless charging for those people who want that. Now in 2020, I know I'm shocked to see a headphone jack on a phone, but TCL has done it. They put a headphone jack at the top of this phone so you can get some good old wired listening pleasure with your music or with the included radio app. So basically the headphone cable will act as a antenna for you. And even though this phone only has one single speaker at the bottom, so no stereo speakers here, that one speaker does get plenty loud, so I will live with it. And then also TCL is known for making TVs, so of course they had to include an IR blaster at the top of this phone. And it's been a minute since I've used a phone that has one of these, but it's kind of fun to use this as an universal remote. So you can control your TV, your cable box, and other things with it. So it's cool to have. But yeah, there are some ups and downs with the internals, but it is under $500. So some things are expected not to make the cut. And overall, it's very acceptable for me. But what TCL is doing with this phone that helps separate it from the rest of the budget phones out there is that they nailed the design on this phone. And so I will say it looks and feels better than some $900 to $1,000 phones that I've used. And seriously, if you just handed this phone to someone and told them to take a guess at the price, I think a lot of people would price it higher than $450. I'm just saying. And then the button placement is on point too. So yeah, I know this isn't a deal breaker, but a phone with bad button placement can annoy me a little bit. But this 10 Pro has the power and volume buttons spaced nicely on the right side. And then on the left side, you have what they call their Essential Smart Key, which is basically a shortcut button. So you can customize this by assigning it up to 3 actions when using a single, double, or long press. And it can do a number of things like launching the Google Assistant, turning on your flashlight, clearing your notifications, or cleaning up your background apps, which is one of my favorites. Or you can have it set to open up a particular app and going all the way and having it set up to not only open up the camera app, but also to launch it in portrait mode, video mode, or selfie mode. All right, so now let's jump over from the design over to the display. So again, TCL makes TV, so there was some expectations with this screen, but I have to say after using it, it definitely is the best screen that I've used in this price bracket. And again, it competes with some other more expensive phones. And so the screen size is just shy of being 6.5 inches, but it is a full HD plus curved AMOLED display. But I didn't have any significant issues with the display being curved as far as accidental touches, and the good screen to body ratio only helps. And there is a cutout for the teardrop front-facing camera, and I would have liked to have seen this be a punch-hole camera, but I can get over that. And then also just with the quality of the screen, it is very sharp and it looks really good, but I do feel that sometimes I think it feels a little bit too saturated, or they just went for a little bit more of a punchy type of experience as far as the colors and things like that. And I noticed it when I was watching the Childish Gambino video, Feels Like Summer, and it's a very type of orange video, but on this phone it just kind of felt like too much. But luckily TCL does give you some control over how your screen looks. So you can use this with their Next Vision setting that allows you to allow this phone to convert SDR content to HDR alongside other visual enhancements. But I opted to keep the display closer to the standard mode. And if you were wondering, there is no high refresh rate here. It just runs at 60 Hertz. And that's fine because I don't expect that on phones at this price just yet, but I'm sure that that time will be coming. And the screen also does have an always on display that is plenty bright, and it has has a solid amount of styles to choose from to pimp out your screen when you're not using it. And then also too, there's one that will allow you to draw your own design, and that could be kind of fun. And for the other times that you find yourself in direct sunlight, there is a sunlight display mode that makes the screen easier to see, and it does work. Okay, so now let's take a peek underneath the display, because there's a fingerprint scanner, and I have to be honest, it just didn't work that well at first. The setup took me multiple attempts because it kept having problems recognizing my thumb, but after registering my thumb twice, it is more consistent now. And I do like that if you do continue to hold your finger down after unlocking, it will bring up a quick launch menu that gives you not as many, but similar actions that you can choose from, like you can with the essential button. So yeah, they do need to do some work with that fingerprint scanner, but a good thing is that the face unlock is very fast and reliable, so that'll be my default choice for the time being. Okay, so now let's talk about the cameras. But first, I want you to close your eyes and just imagine a world without the Google Pixel 3a or the iPhone SE. And now open up your eyes and now just take a look at some of these photos. And so first, let me say that you do get a quad camera setup on the back of this phone that includes a wide angle camera, an ultra wide camera, a camera for low light video, and then also a macro camera. And I do have to say that just for this price range, the quality that you get from this camera system is just okay. Nothing more, nothing less, just okay. And so using portrait mode with the rear or front facing cameras is okay. And also the ultra wide camera is okay. And this phone does not have a telephoto camera, so you won't be getting any optical zoom, but I found that the 2x digital zoom actually worked out pretty well. And so yeah, this camera system is, yes, you guessed it, just okay. Now the quality of the photos is saved a little bit because with the main camera, you can choose to switch from the default 16 megapixels and go up to 64 megapixels. And you do see an improvement when it comes to the sharpness and the quality and the detail. And that of course will translate if you do want to crop in on your photos. And then going from 64 megapixels down to the 5 megapixel macro camera, you can take some super macro pictures, but compared to other phones that have macro lenses, this one does look a little soft. And switching over to videos, you can record 4K video up to 30 frames per second with the rear facing camera, and then 1080p up to 30 frames per second with the front facing camera. And just like the photos, the videos are, yes, you guessed it, just okay. But I do have to say that while recording videos, I noticed that this has some of the best autofocus that I've used on a phone, period. I mean, it does a really good job at not hunting around for a subject. So as I was going between these flowers, it was able to move those flowers into focus pretty easily, and it looked very smooth. It's just the rest of the quality of the video just needs to be bumped up. Oh, and here's some video that I captured that took advantage of that low light camera. So yes, I do miss having my telephoto camera, but you can see that this does brighten up dark environments, so it can definitely have some use. Oh, and TCL also threw in something cool with the camera software called Triple Cam, which will allow you to see 3 different camera options at the same time. So you can see what it will look like if you were to take an original photo, an ultra wide, or low light video, and you can tap which one you want to do, and then it'll switch over to that mode, and then you can go ahead and capture it. And you know, now is a good time to talk about the rest of the software on this phone. So the base of the software is Android 10, but TCL has their own TCL UI on top of it. And this software reminds me very much of what OnePlus does with their phones, which is a great thing. And that is that they do respect stock Android, and it looks and feels mostly like stock Android, but TCL has added their own little touches to kind of make it more unique and more useful. And so one of the things I like is that when you are listening to music or watching a video and you were to press the volume buttons, it not only brings up the volume controls, but also the playback controls. And then when you swipe up from the bottom to look at all of your apps, you can let the software automatically organize all of these apps by the categories that they belong in. So it makes it easier just to scroll down and see your social media apps, your communication apps, and your media apps. And then also you can make your own category and name it whatever, and then add your apps into that. You also have a super Bluetooth mode that will allow you to connect up to 4 different Bluetooth devices at the same time to this phone. If you want to do like a listening party, you can have 4 people with the headphones all listening to the same thing connected to this phone. And then also something I noticed is that when you are using some of these system apps and you close that app and go back to the home screen, that particular icon could have a little animation that happens, and that is something that is really kind of unique. And so I don't know, it's little touches like that that help bring the software to life, and I like that type of stuff. And then also as far as updates, so TCL has said that this phone will get updated to the next version of Android, which should should be Android 11. But after that, they don't know quite yet. So I like the fact that they are upfront with that and letting you know that they don't know if they're going to support major software updates after this first year of this phone. But we will see, and I think that will be depending on how many phones that they sell. But look, the software, the design, the screen, they've nailed it. And I think for $450, you're getting a phone that has some premium aspects to it that helps separate it from the rest of the pack. Now, one thing I have noticed is that when companies that specialize in making other products really get serious about making smartphones, the one weak spot that they usually have deals with the cameras, and that is the case here. So I think it will be a little while before they can compete with the SE or any type of Pixel phone that comes out at a lower price. But you know what? Having a headphone jack, micro SD card slot, and even that IR blaster and a great display, I think is enough for TCL to continue to make their name in the smartphone game. And I think they're off to a great start with this series of phone, and I can definitely recommend it to a lot of people depending on what you want. And some quick final details for you is that TCL will be selling this phone through Walmart and Best Buy and Amazon, and this phone isn't fully supported on CDMA carriers like Verizon or Sprint here in the US. So to get full support for this phone, you're going to want to be on a GSM carrier like T-Mobile or AT&T. So this is my review of the TCL 10 Pro. What do you think? Leave your comment down below and let me know. And then also make sure you do subscribe and hit that notification bell. And like always, I do want to thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.